When our first son was born, shortly after he was born, we took him home and we saw that his nappies were staining black. So next day we went to see our doctor, and our doctor was extremely good, and sent off urine samples to get tested at, I think, UCLH. And then, quite rapidly came back with the diagnosis of Alkaptonuria, and obviously we were quite devastated.
I found out when I was 40 that I had this rare genetic disease that nobody knew about. I studied Alkaptonuria for 10 years, answering questions on the internet for people who were coming on to me saying, I've got this rare disease, do you know anything about it? I then, in 2002, 2003, set up the Alkaptonuria Society with help from Orphaned Sweden.
Robert Gregory, who suffers quite severely from the illness, what happened was he basically realised that nothing was being done about AKU, that there weren't any patient groups, there was very little research, and decided to set up the AKU Society as a charity, and I came on shortly after that. And the idea was really to have a network for people with AKU, but also to work with the medical establishment to try and bring them together to do research into this illness.
Well, I first noticed it when I was 40. I'm now 58, and I noticed it when I was 40 with back pain. I couldn't stand up straight, and I had back pain. And I went to the hospital, and they were constantly treating me for sciatica and a bad back and a dead leg, etc., until a doctor called Dr. Taylor, who was an orthopaedic surgeon at Brooklyn Hospital, said to me, "You've got Alkaptonuria."
Alkaptonuria is a rare disorder that people are born with. When they have this disorder, they have a problem breaking down protein, especially amino acid called tyrosine. And roughly 6% of diet protein is tyrosine. And if you can't break it down, there is accumulation of a product called homogentic acid. The buildup of homogentic acid causes health problems. And the major health problem is arthritis.
Well, it affects me dramatically because it affects people who affects all your joints. All your joints ache. Your joints have to be replaced. It's like walking around wearing chain mail all day. Your arms ache, your back aches, your legs ache, and you slowly but surely end up in a wheelchair.
The buildup of the homogentic acid causes a black deposit, a pigment to be deposited all over the body. This you can see sometimes in the ears of people with Alkaptonuria, in the eyes of people with Alkaptonuria, and it's in all their joints and in their arteries, so it's all over the body. And the pigment, we think, causes damage to the various tissues where it is found. And that is the reason why people with Alkaptonuria get arthritis.
So this is my life, the Alkaptonuria Society. It's a mechanism where we can get the message out to try and find a cure for people who've got Alkaptonuria. It won't be for me, there's no cure for me, but in future there'll be a cure for children who've got it, people in the teens who've got it.
At the moment, we do not have a cure. Ideally, to have a cure, you need to have a normal gene in place of the faulty gene, which is what leads to Alkaptonuria.
Raising the money for a rare disease like Alkaptonuria is extremely difficult. And the reason for that is Alkaptonuria is known as an orphan disease. And at first I thought, what do they mean by an orphan disease? And what they mean by an orphan disease is that it's orphaned from society, orphaned from the state, orphaned from the medical profession. So a lot of these rare diseases like Alkaptonuria have absolutely no funding, no understanding, and they're isolated. What that leads to is people with Alkaptonuria suffer a lot from depression, from isolation, from misunderstanding.
Yeah, well, I think this is an illness which, whilst it's not prevalent, is certainly devastating to the lives of people, and also an illness that's possibly not really well known about amongst many doctors. I think awareness is important, research is important, and certainly treatment to eradicate or help the illness is also crucial.
Alkaptonuria Society was formed in Liverpool, and this is the first body that is looking at the needs of people with Alkaptonuria. It is also the first body that is set up to research into Alkaptonuria. It's sponsoring research for us at the University of Liverpool to try and understand about alkaptonuria and how it works, and to see whether we can develop any new approaches to treatment of this rare condition.
The way you can help to raise money for the Alkaptonuria Society is really have a look at all the different options that you have available. So, for instance, do you actually know some people, wealthy people, who might actually be interested in supporting us, in which case introduce them to us? Do you like doing a certain sport like running or canoeing or anything? Can you do a sponsored event around that? Get your friends and family to give towards that? Or are you having a party or a dinner or something where you could raise funds? You can also just do a standing order. Give us £10 a month. If we gift aid it, we get extra tax back there. And if enough people give £10, £15, £20 a month, that actually leads to quite a lot of money. The ultimate goal of what we're trying to do with the AKU Society is find a treatment for this illness and to be able to treat everybody in the world, starting with the UK, but then everybody in the world who has alkaptonuria, and finding a cure. I'm absolutely convinced that if we can get enough money together, we can find a cure within 10 years for this illness. And one of the reasons that I'm driven for that is I do not want my children to actually be affected by alkaptonuria. If within 10 years I can find a cure, it means that the rest of their lives they will not be affected by alkaptonuria.